Welcome to the Pit Life Barbecue Podcast. Join us around the pit as we talk all things barbecue. Now here is your host, Johnny Maggs.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Pit Life Barbecue Podcast, a podcast where we talk everything barbecue that you normally talk around the pit. Coming to you live from the Uncle Steve Shake Studios in Cinnabon, New Hampshire. It is Monday, and you know what that means. You can't start the barbecue week unless you start on Monday, so let's get going. Tonight's episode brought to you by Uncle Steve Shake. What can I say? Uncle Steve is a true gentleman. 18 amazing flavors. The sauce with no name. Always revamping. We're in the process of the Magic Ribs 2.0. Working a couple things out on that. And actually used some today on a pork butt, and it looks tremendous. But like I said, Uncle Steve, incredible. He wears all the hats. He's mixing the shake. He's bottling. He's labeling. He's packing. He's shipping. Any questions you have, you call the number. He's answering the phone. You send an email. He's responding. He might even reach out to you if he has a question about your order, just to make sure you're getting exactly what you need. Any other questions on flavor profiles in his line, he'll have a conversation with you, steer you in the right direction, and just so your barbecue is where you want it to be. He puts his heart and soul in all of it. Check him out at UncleStevesShake.com. And follow along on Facebook at Uncle Steve Shake Nation. Uncle Steve Shake. Shake some on everything. Also brought to you by Joe's Meat Market, the diamond of Royce City, Texas. Gabriel and his crew doing an amazing jobs. The selection of proteins is unbelievable. You need a specific cut thickness, Gabriel's got you covered. If you're looking for a protein that Gabriel might not have, he'll work with you to get it in to make what you're doing come true. Produce brought in fresh daily. For all us comp guys and backyarders, got us covered too. Lines of rubs, seasonings, sauces, injections, smoky wood products. Splits, chunks, chips, pellets, the whole nine. And while you're there, if you're feeling a little hungry, he got you covered too. Gabriel's mom is behind the counter whipping up the most freshest, authentic Mexican cuisine out there. Grab a few tacos, some menudo, anything you guys want. They got it. Grab a plate, sit down, make a new barbecue friend for life. Like I said, if you're ever in the Royce City area, swing by Joe's Meat Market and tell them Johnny Maggs sent you. Joe's Meat Market for the win. Also brought to you by the Big Dog Sauce Company and Matt's Backyard Barbecue present the New England CBA Triple Crown, bringing Texas and New England together for the ultimate barbecue showdown, a 3-state high-stakes competition across Vermont, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire. Do you have what it takes to dominate the Champions Barbecue Alliance's 4-meat competition, chicken, ribs, pork, and brisket? Named the Triple Crown? How about showing your skills in some epic jackpots, including dessert, chef's choice, sausage, steak? Calling all young pitmasters, the Kids Q jackpots give the next generation of barbecue legends a chance to show off their skills. Join the fiercest pitmasters as they fire up the smokers, lay down the rubs, and showcase their best. 3 states, 3 epic showdowns, 1 champion. These sponsors are bringing the heat with prizes, including a guaranteed $10,000 payout for Vermont competition and some unique trophies. Whether you're competing or coming to judge the feast, don't miss this barbecue lovers paradise. All right, let me put that there. Right now, it looks like I have decent reception. I've already got kicked off once, but we will see. Let's see. First in was Cracker Barrel Barbecue. And is this the infamous pro-life barbecue podcast? You know, I'm from Texas and I'm bringing hired guns. Yeah, apparently. Yeah, Cracker Barrel. Daddy Dutch, good evening. Bat, what's happening? A bunch of me. There you go. Tom, what's up? Uncle Steve, what's happening, brother? Rico Pasquale, shouldn't you be practicing? Dude, I did a pork butt this afternoon, so we're good. I'm practicing, brother. Don't you worry about it. I'm ready. Daddy Dutch, Tom. All right. Mags ain't got an accent. Texas does. Oh, don't start a war, Tom. Don't start a war. All right, guys. It's Monday. Let's go. Just want to start today off is hopefully everybody enjoyed their 3-day weekend. And like I say each and every year, that we do not celebrate Memorial Day, we observe Memorial Day. And it is about all of those brave men and women throughout all the branches of our armed forces who had paid the ultimate sacrifice, left to defend our country, and didn't come home. So keep all of them through hundreds of years now to the present. Keep their family, themselves and their families in your prayers. And we thank them each and every day for paying the ultimate sacrifice. So all the branches out there, whether you're a veteran or serving currently, thank you, thank you, thank you. But yes, Tim Rogers, what's happening, brother? But thinking about this when we had scheduled this, wasn't real. I knew it was Memorial Day, and I never put the two together. But I could not have asked for a more appropriate guest to have a conversation with on Memorial Day than this lovely woman. Another one who does not stop and puts her heart and soul in everything she does, organizing events, running the events, promoting the events. The line goes on and on. We all know her from the Danny Dietz Memorial Classic Cook-Off. And we are here tonight to talk about the Danny Dietz, but also she has started a new venture called the Texas Juging Association. And we're going to find out everything about that. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my darling, Jenn Leigh. Jenn, how are you, honey?
I'm fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Celebrating being home and taking a rest for a moment after observing Memorial Day all weekend. Up in Decatur at the Navy SEAL Danny Dietz Memorial Classic Roping. today the barrel racing. Actually, we came home early. They're still having the barrel racing as we speak, in between storms and tornadoes. This is the 20th anniversary of Operation Red Wings. And so it was a very special weekend up there. We had 9 gold stars. That's the widows of the gentlemen that lost their lives in Operation Red Wing, their children. We had teammates, Master Chiefs, the guys that trained them. It was just, Marcus was there as well. It was funny. We had one of our volunteers had to go to a different engagement, one of those family things, couldn't get out of it type situation. And it was on Wednesday. I was talking to him and I was like, oh yeah, rough life. You're going to Hawaii. And, I had a little bit of that grass is greener on the other side, because I knew it was ahead for our weekend. It's all go, no quit. I mean, we host lunch for 80 VIPs on Friday. Then we do the 600 plus people dinner show, the ceremony and stuff Friday night. And then Tom and I cooked full barbecue spread starting Saturday morning for 200 people. So it's all go, no quit the whole weekend. And so I'm like, oh, Hawaii, that's awful. And now when I got home and took a non-RV shower, I was like, I feel like a giant piece of shit right now, because I wouldn't have traded what I saw this weekend for the world. He can have Hawaii. Right. What I was able to see this weekend, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, honestly, to see the laughs, the tears. There were some gold stars that hadn't seen teammates in 20 years since the funeral.
Yeah.
And so it was a diminutive in my space in this world, just felt this big. But just to be able to observe and participate and facilitate the ability for all them to come together and have some healing. And 20 years is a long time. But when you're back in that atmosphere with the same people, it comes rushing back. And so it was a wonderful event, raised great money. But mostly wasn't even really about the money this weekend. It was about providing them a place to come together.
Absolutely.
We're home.
Absolutely. So so that's quite an event. The rope and the barrel racing and all that.
Yes.
A fun event. Obviously everything falls under the Cookoff. And like I say every time, Jen, we talk, whether it's here on the phone or those wonderful times that we are in each other's actual presence.
Right.
My hat is off to you. Because the love, respect, honor that you show, not only Danny and the memorial cook-off with him, but all veterans, all servicemen and women, that is always in the front of everything you do. It starts with that, then it goes into the the in particulars of the cook-off, the event, the function. It's the memory of them first, then everything else. So like I always say, my hat is off to you. You do God's work on a daily. So thank you.
I appreciate that, but it's every day I wake up in America and I'm able to do these things because of our military and because of the sacrifices. So I wasn't in the military. I'm not a first responder. I'm not, my life is not on the line every day other than Houston traffic. It's the least. It is the absolute least that I feel that I can do to give back. I think everybody has to find a purpose within themselves of serving. If I can't imagine living my life without having any type of servitude to it. I just, what's the point of being here if you can't help someone? So,
Absolutely.
I was just drawn to that because, like I said, we wake up in the morning and I'm allowed to go do all of these wonderful things in this great country that we live in. And I see on the daily the damage that these men and women have suffered from, sacrificing their lives and going through combats and tour after tour after tour. And so we're going to help. We're going to do everything that we can to possibly help them fit back into civilian life. And not that they ever will be a civilian again, but, try to help them as much as we can. And that's what drives me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Larry Vaughn, what's up? Afternoon from South Jersey. Big D, what's up, Dave? Bobby Stewart, hey, y'all, checking in from North Texas. Welcome, brother. Welcome.
Finally, somebody from Texas.
Well, apparently I'm from Texas, depending on who you're asking, as a matter of fact, right now. But that's a whole different story.
I was going to say, I missed that story.
Yeah. I'll fill you in later.
Yeah, fill me in.
So like you just said, it's the 20th anniversary of Operation Red Wing, and if I'm not mistaken, it's the 15th anniversary of the Danny Dietz Memorial Cookoff Classic. Correct?
Correct. Yes. For the Cookoff, it's the 16th anniversary for the roping, the 15th for the Cookoff, and the 20th for ORW itself.
Okay. Now that is September, correct?
September 12th and 13th. Patriot Day weekend. That's the way I tell people to remember. It's always Patriot Day weekend.
Patriot Day weekend, perfect. And that is at Jellystone Park. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Yogi Bear
Waller, Texas.
That's correct.
Hey, I remember. Once in a while, the brain works.
Not close enough. It probably it's stuck in your head. So
that's it. And the fact of one of these years, you're gonna get an email, and it's gonna have my name. Pit Life Barbecue is coming to cook it. It is on my list, and I'm sure if I can't personally get down there for myself, I'm sure I can get a little bit of a crew to come down with me. And
I'm sure. Daddy Dutch is in. I have no doubt.
Oh yeah, we'll do one big ass team, and we'll have a good old time down there. But Patriots Day weekend, how many teams do we have signed up so far?
54 so far.
Okay. And the average in the past is, I believe,
between 80 and 110.
80 and 110. Okay.
Yeah, I would love to hit 125 this year. That would be my ultimate goal.
Yeah. And that's beautiful. And like I said, everything with it. Do we have anything special going on this year? I know last year you guys implemented another part of the fundraising of Build-A-Box. Yes. I believe it was $20 a box, and people would sit there and make your garnished box for you, which, all the proceeds go to, the memorial.
Correct.
And how was that? People digged it? Because I loved the fact.
Absolutely. I think we built, last year, I want to say I built 23 cooks paid to have it done. Now it works well because in Texas, we don't do KCBS, right? We only have 3 now total in the whole state. So these guys are like, yeah, take my money. I don't know anything about kale. So they had no problem with paying for it and having us do it. And I think it was a group of 6 or 8 of us that sat there and late into the night drinking margaritas and making kale boxes.
Oh, nothing wrong with it. You know, I'd be all about that. Here, I don't have to do it because I am terrible at it. Take my money. Take my money.
Like, yeah, take it here. We're done. And then we had them, we stored them in the fridge for them, and then we delivered them out to them that morning. So
yeah,
they were happy as could be.
Take the money, leave the boxes.
Pretty much, yeah.
You know, you have anything new coming this year, or?
Not really new. I mean, we're doing the MRE challenge again, which everybody really enjoys. Margaritas, because I enjoy them. Still $50,000 payout. We are thinking about moving awards over to the pool, kind of doing that Lost Lagoon thing.
Oh,
that they do. Yeah, we're thinking about doing that. Haven't confirmed yet, but other than that, like I said, it's our 15th year, so we're also going to be celebrating some of that along with the 20th year of ORW. So it's going to be a fun-filled weekend as it usually is.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I'm assuming the trophies haven't changed. Still very unique and homemade.
But yeah, everything is the same. Like I said, we have the same reps are coming back. Matter of fact, Scott, I don't know if you know Scott Spray or not. Him and his wife Debbie are KCBS reps, and Scott actually came to Decatur this weekend to support the Classic, which was pretty awesome to see him show up. Just barbecue supporting barbecue, that was neat.
Yep. Dan Lloyd, Big Dog Sauce. What's up, brother? Thanks for stopping in. Jen, for anybody who might not be familiar, with the Danny Dietz, the trophies. Oh, Jen. Nope, we lost Jen, but she will be back in a moment. Tim, that's a great question, and we'll get that answered when Jen gets back. Yeah, this the Danny Dietz is definitely on my list of events to do. There's so much that goes into it. So yeah, one of these years I'm gonna, get the schedule officially right and get down there and do it. We'll throw a team together and go play with our Texas brothers and sisters. Vince Colanetto, what's happening? And here is Jen.
Sorry.
Hello, dear. No worries. No worries. Before we were gonna talk about the trophy real quick for anybody who isn't familiar with it, but Tim Rogers has a great question when it comes to the builder box. Do you build them in the official box with your number on it, or is it a donor box and you do the lid flip?
Nope, we build them in your box. So Linda and Larry, basically when you come and check in and you verify those are your numbers, then you come and drop them off to me, and we do a lot of signature checks. So you're dropping them off to me. This is your number, and I'm going to make sure that number makes it back to you. So
beautiful. Yeah,
no lid flips.
Very good. So the trophies, like I said, they are one of the most unique trophies out of any sanctioning body in barbecue. Can you give us a split, explain and little description of the oh
Explanation?
so elusive paddles?
Yes. So our reserve and grand trophies are that are created by Navy SEALs. They're handcrafted. Each year they're different because we go through different operators that create them. If you're not familiar with the story of the paddles, so they are coveted for whenever you're exiting service, then it is something that's bestowed upon you as a member of that boat team, essentially. So, like I said, each one is individually handcrafted based on whichever operator that we have make them that year. They're full-size paddles. Usually you'll have a challenge coin, all kind of paracord decor. I have some, they're just not in here. I probably should have brought one with me.
Yeah.
They're over in the other office, but they're gorgeous. They're absolutely, like I said, they're one of a kind. So you'll never see any two that are the same. I have some from when I first started with Danny Dietz. That's kind of how I got roped into all this, was as a sponsor. A really good friend of mine at the time needed money to do the cook-off, and I worked for a corporation that we were fortunate enough to be able to support. And so we made a large contribution, and then I got a paddle, and I was like, ooh, what's this? And then just like a rock rolling downhill, it turned into holy crap. And so here we are. This is my 5th year doing it.
Okay.
So
Very good. Very good.
yeah, they are one of a kind. That's very coveted. It is not something that you will ever be able to reproduce or buy on the market or anything like that. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
and we pay 1st through 10th, all 4 meets, and we pay 1st through 10th. 1st through 15 overall.
Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. Sign-ups.
Yes.
How would one to?
DannyDietzMemorial.com. Click on the barbecue page, and they'll register right there.
Beautiful, beautiful. Very simple, easy. Sign on up. Come and enjoy this event, and put it in the box and hope for the best.
That's all you can do.
Get a cold margarita while you're at it at the pool.
Absolutely. We have 47 KCBS judges already signed up. It amazes me the way they work. Just amazing. Hey, Vince is on. Hi, Papa. Yeah, they sign up like it's, it just blows me away. But we're at 47 already, so
yeah,
they're ready to come eat some Texas barbecue.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, with all that being said, it's always good to recap and promote the Danny Dietz. So, obviously, thank you. We do it every time, but it has to be. It has to be in the forefront. But like you're not busy enough, you put out a teaser a few weeks ago, probably more than that, the way time flies, of something big was coming. And then finally I saw the post of a little something called the Texas Juging Association. I then got in touch with you, and we were discussing it a little bit, but we figured let's get together and let's dive deep into the murky waters of the Texas Judging Association. So
go ahead.
Let's stir the pot. Why not? So, what is the mission statement, I suppose, of the Texas Judging Association to start with?
So I actually created one of those. It's on my website, but I don't remember it verbatim. Essentially, what the Texas Judging Association is an educational tool to understand and comprehend competition barbecue. Pretty simple. At the end of the day, once it really started with just being a cook. So I'm a promoter, I'm a cook, I'm a head judge, all facets of the barbecue world. In that sometimes, you just get kicked in the teeth with scores. And yourself, and when you have a bad day. I cooked Cedar Fest, KCBS, and I told Tom, I said, those thighs were trash. I know they were trash. I'm dead ass last. I'm fine with that. Like, I knew. I didn't even want to turn them in, but you're always going to turn them in. But trash. 42nd out of 44. I knew it. It was bad product. So when you have bad product, and then when you have good product. And so when you get 5s and 6s or 7s, depending on your sanctioning body, a 2 or, whatever, regardless of the score, whatever the lowest one is, you get those and you're like, bro, it wasn't that bad. Like, there's no way it was that bad, the days that you have a really solid cook and you just come back and you're like, the stupid judges. So on Monday and Tuesday, we all sit around and we watch everybody post their pictures about, does this look like it's an 8, or does this look like it's a 6, or, no, it doesn't in appearance, but taste and texture, we can't taste a box. So we can't taste a picture. But what we're trying to do is really educate people to understand that it is simply about knowledge. The more that people, it goes back to when we were in school. The more you know, that's all it is. Regardless of the sanctioning body, I don't care which one it is, they all judge on the same 3 criteria. It's appearance, taste, and texture. Easily said, as a head judge, I spend a lot of my time prior to even telling them our scoring tool, trying to explain competition barbecue. But you've got a small window of time to get those boxes in, get people sat down, get them paying attention, letting them know that they're eating competition barbecue, what it is that they're looking at, what your scoring tool is. And all of that is just a redacted version into, maybe 4 minutes, 5 minutes to try and get the most that you can out of it, to really have them understanding any scoring tool, KCBS, CBA, IBCA, Outlaw, any of them. It takes a moment to explain what those numbers, words equate to as far as scoring goes. So I said it would be more beneficial if we had an educational tool for people to come in and say, hey, what am I looking for? What does this mean? What is this product? Now I can focus on telling you how to work my scoring tool. Then this is how it equates. A really classic example is, I swear to the good Lord above, I have had judges that when I sit down and I say, okay, first things first, do you have any food allergies? Second thing, does everybody like barbecue? And I have had people raise their hand and say, no, I do not like barbecue. Well, why are you here? Well, the promoter said that they needed judges. We didn't have enough. So I'm just doing them a favor. And I'm like, well, thank you so much for stepping in, but I'll find somebody else. Yeah. But they do it. It happens at contests. Does everybody like chicken? We're judging chicken today. Does everybody like chicken? No, I don't really like barbecue chicken. I like baked chicken. I appreciate you sitting here, but this is barbecue chicken. So, it's small things like that. And you wouldn't think that you would have to say it, but you do. And this educational tool is going to be a 5-step process. The first one is very much so, if you don't like barbecue, please don't judge. Don't sign up to judge. You're not obligated to do this as a favor to anyone. Number 2 is understanding what a competition cook is, right? I understand judging. It is some backyard contest. This is not going to work for them. This is not something that they even care about. But at the end of the day, a backyard cook strives to be a competition cook. If they want to just stay backyard, then yeah, this isn't for them. But everybody strives to want to get to the big ones. So if you want to go to the Royal, you want to go to the Jack, you want to go to Memphis in May, you want to go to Danny Dietz, you better learn how to competition cook. And competition barbecue is different than backyard barbecue. And you have to educate these people. One of the things I find just hearing from cooks and seeing it in the judging room, I don't like sauce. You know, they'll tell me, well, I don't like sauce. Well, great, you don't like sauce. But because you don't like sauce does not mean that the product that you just scored as inedible is inedible. What it means is that you would prefer not to have it again. Now, how does that translate in a score? Right? It's not the lowest possible score you can get, because if it's the lowest possible score you can get, you're telling me it's nasty or it's inedible. Now, you didn't say that. What you told me was you don't prefer sauce. Well, then let's score it accordingly. Because there are cooks out there that do dry birds, and there are cooks out there that do sauce birds. So your dry bird's going to score higher, but don't ding your sauce bird to the absolute lowest score, because that doesn't translate to taste or texture. And I've asked them, well, how does it taste? Well, it's good, but I just don't like sauce. Okay, we'll pull the skin back and try the chicken. So it's educating people on how to actually eat barbecue to work around the kinks that they don't like. Brisket. Some people like really lean brisket. Well, if you don't cut the fat off of it, then they're going to ding you for that. Well, then they give you the lowest score. Well, you can't do that. Cut above it. Don't eat the fat, right? Just because it's not your preference does not mean that that's the score that should be reflected. So that's what we're getting into, is actually educating. I'm not asking to change anybody's palates. Taste is subjective. We all know that. You can't fix that. That's why some of us cook spicy birds, some of us cook sweet birds. You know, we get all of that. That's a different whole facet of cooking. All we're trying to do is get the basics down to these folks so that they understand. And you're not just getting some yahoo off the street that's never tasted competition barbecue. I've gone so far as to tell people, when you eat this, it's going to taste different. You've probably never had anything like this before, because of sauces, rubs, injections, and things that we do as competition cooks. It's going to greatly influence the taste. That's what we're going for. That's the Texas Judging Association as a whole.
Nice.
Let me step off my soapbox.
So, you know, like I said, I love the idea of it, because yes, there is. You do have those descriptions, like you said. If you know Tim Rogers from Up to Barbecue out of Vermont here, Easy Mag, sore subject with chicken. Here's a story of that. We were at a KCBS event, and probably the best protein I cooked that day was my chicken. And to this day, I'm pissed. I'm sorry. That was not a 37th place chicken. Was not. My brisket was hot trash. Okay?
We know we can admit it.
Was that a 39th place brisket? I think 39th was a little high. Okay? I was fully expecting the old elephant's ass award on brisket, dead ass last. And that's where that brisket should have been. You know, but like you said, we're talking with a lot of people who cook week in, week out. You know when your product's good. You know when your product's not. Yes, are there the days you're good product, you don't get your scores? Are there those days, you know, the classic, my ribs were terrible. Second place ribs.
Right.
You know, it's just one of those things. You know, so we watch it, you know, each and every week. And there was one competitor, one cook, who had put a post out, and he had 2 chicken boxes. One was pristine, what you would expect a beautiful competition chicken box to look like. The second was a competition turn-in of basically burnt ass chicken. Burnt ass chicken.
That one won, right?
Nines across the board. The what you think, and on this one was strictly going on appearance scores. Okay. 7s, 8s. Well, how? And yes, you're doing a.
They don't know what competition barbecue is, right? So when you pull the random person off the street to judge barbecue, and here's what started it, right? There's 32 million people in Texas. 73% of those people eat barbecue. That's 22 million. 22 million people in Texas eat barbecue, some form or fashion. In last 2024, there were 368 barbecue contests, all sanctioning bodies. If in a perfect world you got all new judges and did it the way you were supposed to do and took an average between the sanctioning bodies and how many you require, 23,000 judges, 23,560, I believe it was. That's 23,560 people that have your outcome in their hands. All of these people are found because they came to the event and they're a friend. They happen to be supporting whatever that cause might be. But out of 23,000 people, how many of them do you think cook competition barbecue? You may be lucky to have one comp cook on a table. And you have a comp cook on the table and you're screwed anyway because they're judging harder than anybody. So but they don't know what it is. And when I start my head judge speech, one of the first things, like I said, I say is, this is competition barbecue. This is not going to look like what you have on 4th of July at your friend's house or that you're used to your granddad cooking for you. These are cooks that spend $1,000 a weekend, that take the time to go get special proteins and cook them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, to get them in the mindset of understanding this is not going, that burnt chicken is not what you're looking for. So when they start seeing competition birds, then they understand, okay, this is a different caliber of cook. And that's where we want to get our judges to be, to understanding that it's a different caliber of competition, a different caliber of meat. We're even putting a section into the TGIA that they have to go through. I can't tell you how many people couldn't pick a money muscle out to save their life. I mean, for a little while down here, there was a sanctioning body that people were running tenderloins instead of money muscles because nobody could tell the damn difference. So, letting the average person understand the difference between a point and a flat, the difference between, and what is a brisket? What we don't just go buy them from Walmart for $2.97 a pound, so that they understand the quality of the food that they're actually tasting. There's something into this. It's not literally just 97-cent wings that you got at Kroger on sale for the weekend for Memorial Day. And the more that you give these people knowledge, the more they're going to be able to make better educated decisions on scoring. Like Absolutely. I said, take out the factors of what you think you should be scoring because you don't like something. Well, don't like it, preferences are not to be judged. You're not faulting someone for a preference. So those are just really the key critical things that we're trying to get across to folks to say, hey, yes, let's get more people educated. In the judging room, I found people that ask me, how do I, can I get certified in this? Is this a thing? How do I judge more? So there's a want for people to know more, and there's a want for people to be certified and to really understand competition barbecue. So we're going to try it, see what happens, and we'll go from there. It could be a complete utter failure, but not many things I do are a failure. So
no. Carlos Calzada, what's up, brother? We are a month away, my brother. We are going to have a good old time.
Y'all stay out of trouble.
Up in the great state of Vermont.
Don't corrupt my friend.
No. Don't worry. We're gonna have a good old time.
Good old time.
That's it. It is definitely gonna be a memorable weekend that will last forever. So
Awesome.
we're going to have a great time, Carlos and myself. So that's the idea of everything. So how are you going make some s'mores? Absolutely, Carlos. Carlos knows. Carlos knows. Um, how is I suppose would you call it a curriculum of
Yes.
if I was to sign up for the Texas Judging Association for to get educated in barbecue and more so competition barbecue. I come in, sit down, you know, what am I getting? Am I getting, pamphlets or is it,
So our first out the gate, right? So we're going to have levels of judging as far as how many you've done and criteria that's required for you to advance. So you can't be an aficionado in just IBCA. We want you to go do all the sanctioning bodies so that you
Mhm.
understand different things, right? IBCA doesn't offer you the choice to judge chicken parts or other types of proteins going in the box. So you'd need to go to CBA for that. KCBS obviously is hands-on tasting, that type of thing. So there's a lot of different benefits for going out and judging different sanctioning bodies, but you would come online and it's a literal video that you're going to watch. And I've kind of made it a pain in the ass, but kind of not. I mean, it's not that bad, but it's like taking defensive driving. So you're going to have to enter some questions in there so that you're actually we know you're paying attention, right? And there's even like some humor in it that we've cut into it, so that I like how you hide your yawns though. So we could cut the humor into, but they're really test questions, right? To see if you were really paying attention and to see if this is something that we may have to adjust it, we may have to fix it, but there's 5 different portals in it that you're going to go through, and you're going to understand and testing, et cetera, et cetera. Understanding boxes, pictures, all from different sanctioning bodies. Cooks have been very generous to say, yes, you can use my pictures. I have no problem with that. But so that people understand, a literal example of one of our things is, backyard barbecue, and it's all burnt, probably that chicken that and then competition barbecue. So that people really, really understand the concept of what this is like, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times we find ourselves saying we outcook the judges, and we do, because it's 98% just people they pulled off the
Yeah.
street that, and so really getting people to motivate. It's a twofold system in that hopefully it's providing a service to the cooks and that they have a more confident feeling, and at least people know it's competition barbecue that they're judging, that the people are looking at, right? The other one is for promoters. So I'm a promoter. As a promoter, I know one of the hardest damn things is finding judges, people that you can trust, that there's not going to be a lynch mob waiting out there when it's done because they judge just awful and everybody's pissed at you. So you can have
Yeah.
the best contest in the world. Danny Dietz, the first year at Yogi Bear, I had the best contest in the world. I did everything that I could possibly do to make it the best. I had the best reps from KCBS, and I ended up only being like 63% certified. And now I have cooks that won't come back because I wasn't 100%. To which my explanation was, well, we're still in Texas, so
Yeah.
they're still going to judge differently. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is. So no matter how hard you work, your judges can sink your event just like that, and nobody will come back to it. So that being said, the second part is for promoters to have a database to be able to access and send out for people that are passionate about judging, people that really want to judge competition barbecue. Now they have a place where they can go and get that information. A couple of sanctioning bodies, the sanctioning bodies have been like data mining information for people that have signed up, but there's still no educational tool tied with that data. Yes, they want to judge. Here's my information, but you're still not providing them with any knowledge of how to judge. And like I say, how to judge is it's just education, honestly. I mean, we're not instructing people on just like KCBS. You know, so many people take the KCBS class and judge, and they still don't judge the way they're supposed to. So, you know, they're like, oh, that looks awful, and the thighs are in proportion. They're not proportionate, and that one's bigger than that one. When they tell you in the class, don't judge it on that. But, you know, it just is what it is, that I can't fault people. I can't gripe and get on Facebook and complain about my proteins that got trashed if these people don't have the knowledge to do it. So
absolutely.
Let's try and give them the knowledge.
100%, 100%.
So you'll get that. You'll be certified. You get a little certificate. You also get a lanyard in the mail because people love lanyards. Makes them feel special. And yeah, as time progresses, I mean, we know this is like a year-long at least process to start getting the ball rolling. But I have found that if you're sitting at a table judging and you have a lanyard that says, I'm Jen and I'm a certified TJA judge, those other 4 people are going to be like, hey, how'd you do that? Where do I get that? I want to be that. So word of mouth, you know, and then the promoters have the opportunity to feedback as well. So their portal site, it's kind of like KCBS, not exactly, much more friendlier. They will come in and actually be able to score the judges because we want to hear feedback on that. If you sign up to be a judge and you're a complete jackass when you get out there because you've shown up drunk, or you've scored everybody just terribly low, or you're intentionally doing something, we want to know about that. So we're not going to refer that judge out to other promoters. And then we're talking about once you've done 10, maybe 12, through different sanctioning bodies, we want to do an in-person class. And basically what it's going to be is like a class at a cook-off. Okay, so we're going to tag along. I have enough cook-offs. There's enough people I know that do cook-offs that will allow them to come in basically into the judging room and judge under the TJA to say, hey, these are your scales. Now I want you to actually put it in place. Right? So you've taken it. Now let's go do it. And then if they do that, that moves them to the next step, right?
Now, with the in-person one, you know, do you have like some volunteers, I suppose, cooking examples?
Yes.
So you're going to have...
You've taken the other class, right? You know, so it's basically like that. It's going to be the same. And but just really getting them to understand not flavor profiles. We can't change people's palate, but what I can change is understanding the appearance of a box. So yeah, I'm going to put a box in there where one's trash, or they put the backbone to the front. That looks awful, you know? So why did I score down on appearance? Because nobody wants to look at the backbone. Ribs, we all know things that just look wrong, and I'm going to have somebody overcook the shit out of something. So we can say, this is not competition barbecue. The majority of what you are going to see, whether it be dry or sauce, etc., fits within this, right? Brisket, there's some that, I mean, I've literally had briskets that have been turned in and now that they've kind of gotten rid of some rules through different sanctioning bodies, they roast or chopped beef, or, you know, and when you see a box like that's not what competition barbecue looks like. So, however, it resonates with 3 of those judges sitting at that table because that's what their brisket looks like when they cook it at home. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Different. That is the difference.
You're more so trying to change the mindset.
Yes.
You know,
and finding folks that genuinely want to come out and appreciate the art of barbecue, right? So it's a specific art that we do. It's not just, I mean, yes, it's a hobby, but it's a very freaking expensive hobby. And a hobby that we take very seriously. So,
absolutely.
So finding the promoters that are just as passionate about doing their contest, for the cooks that are just as passionate about cooking, we need to find the judges that are as passionate about judging so that it all works together. And at the end of the day, nobody's that upset about the fact that, you know, if you had trash, you know you had trash. I'm not saying that there's going to be one-offs. Of course, there's going to be one-offs. There's really, you can't control everything in the world, but you can give people learning tools, and that's what we want to do.
Beautiful, beautiful. So is there a third stage once
There's
you
actually
get
5 stages. So,
Ooh.
yeah, there's 5 stages. And we've come up with, we're going to start coming up with like ancillary categories and stuff that you can tag on. So that, working with like SCA, I have some phone calls in with some people for that. Just all kinds of different things. I mean, really understanding what different categories are and how do you become more proficient or more knowledgeable. I'm not going to say proficient, more knowledgeable in understanding what these are. Right now, some of them you can't touch. There's just, is it a good margarita? I don't know. They're all good to me. So I very rarely score one that's bad. So some things we can't, but we can add on ancillaries and things like that people can become certified in. And it's based on contest amount that you've judged, and it's based on your scorecard from the promoters.
Okay.
Right. So I think that's one of the things that's kind of been left out too, is that the promoters haven't been able to feedback when it comes to some of their judges. Yeah, we're going to feedback. We want the feedback, and we want to understand what's happening out there when they're representing, having been educated here. Then how does that translate out there?
Beautiful, beautiful. And that was actually the perfect segue into what just happened. And I just got a text message.
Oh Lord.
From a young man. No, we're good. From a young man named Braden Estrella. Okay. Carlos and I are having the honor and the privilege of cooking with Braden at the CBA Triple Crown up this way this summer. And he is going to be cooking the kids' queue.
Oh.
So he just asked, can you ask about the kids' queue and the judging? So with the with your program, do you guys get into the kids' queue aspect of it?
We haven't really discussed doing that yet because of the fact that, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's hard to judge a kid's queue, right? So I'm a mom, right? And so I can't score low. I won't score low. Like, I'm like, these little kids are out here busting their ass, and I don't care if it tastes like shoe leather. I'm still giving them like decent scores. Now, are they 10s? No, I'm not giving them 10s, but I am not going to score kids down. Like, I'm just not going to be the one to burst their bubble. So I get the more passionate kids want the back feedback, and they want the understanding. And so, I'm pretty sure. So I know JPA does feedback and comments. I don't know if the new CBA one does comment cards as well, if it follows in line with the same judging. But I would imagine that it's going to be about the same. Now, kids' queues, it's usually either pork chop or steak. And so I kind of feel like that'll carry over into some of the ancillary choices that we were going to have for them to file. I mean, again, no matter the sanctioning body, no matter what you're taste, texture, and appearance. So those are still the 3 things that you're going to judge on. The only kicker in that is scoring down little baby kids, and I can't, right? So it's just hard for me. I won't judge them because I'm like, I'm not a fair judge. I'm not going to be that person. There's no way. So to his question, it will apply in that it's the same structure. It's the same absolute judging qualifications. It's that, you're held to the same standards, probably not by me, but by a lot of judges. You're held to the same standards as if you were an adult cooking. And so, do you know if they're cooking steak or pork chops or?
For it's going Vermont, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, and I believe it's Vermont and New Hampshire is chicken wings,
Oh,
and Rhode Island is steak.
okay. Chicken wings. I mean, I'm a drum girl. I'm not a flat girl. So there's that. Those are subjective themselves too. So, is that an ancillary that we may get to one day? I don't know. I mean, chicken wings they're kind of taking the storm and throwing them in with, but it's generally flats. So couldn't help them in that department. But steak is again going to be one of those appearance, taste, and texture. I mean, I wouldn't change, and that's what we pretty much tell any of the kids. Don't change the way you cook, because this is the way you're going to continue throughout. You're judged on the same criteria, right? So focus on appearance, taste, and texture, and that's what they should be judging you on. So we might look at it something in the future. I mean, Vince and I talk pretty much every damn day, and he's over JPA, so that's something we can talk about on how it could match in together and have people score, or they could be referred to JPA for promoters.
Perfect. Hood Drip Sauce and Seasonings. David, what's up, brother? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. All right. So, Braden, I hope Jen answered that question for you. And we're looking forward, brother. It's going to be a time for sure with you. Carlos and I are so looking forward to it. We're going to have a blast.
How old is he?
17. He came out.
Have fun.
Yeah, he came out last year for the first CBA we had up here, 4th of July weekend in Rhode Island, and that's where he met Carlos. That's where he officially met me. He's been a stringent, loyal follower of the show for many years now, and he'd email me all types of questions throughout the thing. Wonderful. So, and we were saying, next year, maybe we can get you out to do a couple of the kids' cues. Oh, that'll be awesome. And then we figured out that I had talked to his dad at some point, and he was saying, oh, he's, going to be 18. I'm like, oh, that was in my mind. And we're like, I call his dad. I'm like, hey, how old is Braden? I go, I know you said he's going to be going up to, 18. He goes, oh, no. He just turned 17 in January. I'm like, perfect. He goes, well, what if he was 18? I go, well, he couldn't cook in the kids' queue, but I'm sure we'll buy a bunch of stuff and we'll just grill some stuff up and we'll have a good old time. Right. Either way, Braden was cooking.
Yeah, he's competing.
Yeah.
I wish him the best of luck. I hope he goes and does quite well there.
Oh, he's ready. He's been sending me recipe ideas and videos and everything. Oh, he's taking it serious. There's gonna be no playing around, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited.
Good for you.
Yeah, and it's wonderful to see, the passion he is, and he's like a sponge. He takes everything in, and to see, someone his age and who wants to cook, wants to learn to cook. How do I do this? What would you think if I did this instead of that? And looking at all the aspects of it from all types of angles. So the future of barbecue is in good hands, especially.
Agreed. I agree. A lot of passionate little kiddos out there.
Oh, absolutely. So that's 5 steps. So the online, in person, the ancillaries, and does the ancillaries kind of follow the next one?
We do. So that becomes like as you advance up. But it's all, like I said, it's really based on your count, on how many you've done, how many you've had positive feedback on, and then it just goes from there. So once you basically reach like a level 5, and it's only good for 2 years. So then you have to come back and take a renewal course because things change constantly, right?
Absolutely.
We're big on like kind of giving some brief updates on rules and things that that are important that they have to watch for, that create DQs and things. So like I said, we don't want to focus on any one particular sanctioning body because judging is across the board, but we also feel like they should have to come back in and at least have a refresher course.
Yeah. Actually, Vince is making a great point here. I see a lot of judges that judge the kids judge pretty hard. Most think that the parents help the kids, so they judge accordingly.
That is true.
It is true. It is true. And then, okay, and here.
If you allow kids, if you allow, and it's a lot of times it's just for convenience, and I understand where the reason they do it a lot of times, not having enough volunteers to help. But, if you give the kid the protein and they're allowed to go back to their cook camp and cook, and then they come turn it in, you have no idea who did or who didn't, if the kid really did it or, so I could see judges scoring a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, but I'm just going to believe the little kid did it and give him great scores.
I have to put this next one up because it probably has happened. I don't know if it might have happened to you, but it had to have happened to somebody. How they actually got as far as a judging table, who knows? Have you ever got a vegan as a judge?
Not in barbecue. I've had them in like margaritas, and they had to excuse themselves from Chef's Choice. But yeah, we've had them. I mean, they show up. But thank God they didn't show up at the proteins because Lord.
Right. Oh boy, that's a whole set of numbers. That probably isn't even mathematically possible.
At least enough common sense to understand that this probably isn't going to be the place for you to be. So they probably wouldn't even go, knowing it's a barbecue competition,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jenn, darling, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure. And like I said, I love what you're doing with this, taking the education further and really getting the understanding of competition barbecue to the masses instead of, just the regular scoring. And, the education is the key to it all instead of, here, this is a 9, this is an 8.
Yeah.
And like I said, the one thing you're never going to get over is the person's palate.
Correct.
But to understand, okay, my palate, I don't like too spicy. I'm more on the sweet side. Okay, so if you do get something with a little bit of a kick, you need to look past that.
Exactly.
And go for the protein in the cook itself. Did they accomplish a good product in what they're doing, regardless if it's not in my wheelhouse?
Yep. That's really it. At the end of the day, that's really all you're trying to tell people, is that you have to understand that the lowest score that you're giving somebody means that food is inedible, that it is the absolute worst thing you have ever put in your mouth, and you would like to spit it out right now. Please don't. But if it comes to that, then you're telling me that it's soured, it's foul, it's DQ'd because it's raw. Like something has gone awry. You let your brisket age too long. Like, something is, those are what those numbers are designated for. And that's why I really think we've just got to get that information out to judges for them to understand. Preference does not mean inedible, right? Take your preference out of it. It just means it's not my favorite. I wouldn't have it again, right? And as that translates to as a cook is maybe my shit's a little too spicy.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I need to tone it down a little bit because we try to cook on average middle of the road food. We don't want to offend anybody. We want to make good quality middle of the road food that keeps everyone thinking, oh, that's really good. So at the end of the day, I'm going to consistently want 8s and 9s or 9s and 10s versus, okay, maybe I got 2 7s or 3 7s or whatever because it was too spicy. All right, maybe a majority of people sitting at that table think it was too spicy. That's what we're trying to get to.
Oh, Vince, again, with another great point. Even a pink chicken doesn't mean it's raw, it's smoked. And that's, that's another, that's another part of it.
We've had, I can't tell you how many people I've had sitting at a judging table that will tell me, I don't like smoke. And you just kind of stand there for a second and you think, well, okay, well, there's no way that I could put every Rectech chicken on this table. If I could, you'd probably be a lot better. But the chances are that there are an innumerable amount of offsets out there. And some people put a lot more smoke than and I mean, but why are you here if you don't like smoke?
Like smoke. Barbecue smoke is an ingredient.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, it never ends.
It really doesn't. I mean, the stuff that we hear in the judging room, I've had probably 15 people call me over and want to DQ a chicken because it's pink. And I'm like, it's smoked. But it shouldn't be that color. Yes, it should. Or they think it's raw because injection leaks out when they cut into it. Like, that's injection. No, it's raw. I'm like, no, it's not raw. That's injection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the things that we're teaching in this class. That's things people should know that they don't know. They don't know that we brine our chickens and inject our chickens and do all these things to them. And so it's a surprise to them when they cut into one and juices just pour out. They instantly think, oh my God, that's a raw chicken.
Yeah.
So.
Oh. Isn't barbecue fun?
I love it. I eat, sleep, and breathe it. Don't eat it.
Absolutely.
Let me rephrase that. Sleep and breathe it because I don't eat it.
Absolutely, darling. Oh, but Jenn, thank you so much for taking the time. You're, like I said, you're always a busy girl. So whenever you take the time out for me, like I said, from the bottom of my heart, I truly appreciate you in every.
You're my favorite Yankee.
Everything. That's it. I am. And you heard me coming the first time we met in person. You heard me coming a mile away.
I hear him. Yeah, you were 2 tenths down. I was like, wait, I hear him. I hear him. He's here.
Absolutely.
Memorable accent.
It is. It is. So where can everybody who'd be interested go to sign up or look for some more information on the Texas Judging Association?
TexasJudgingAssociation.com. I keep things simple, man.
Girl, yes. Awesome.
Listen, we're barbecue people. It's got to be simple. We can't make this complicated. Like DietzzMemorial.com, TexasJudgingAssociation.com. All you need to know.
Perfect. But like I said, Jenn, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. It's always great getting to catch up with you, and I can't wait till we have margarita together again.
Me too. I can't wait.
Well, I know it might be a long shot, but if you're looking to get out of that Texas heat coming up at the, the 3rd or 4th weekend in June or the last weekend in July, I do know there will be a few competitions.
I will have to look at the calendar. I don't even know what we have.
They say New England is beautiful this time of year.
I will look and see what may happen. Where you said Vermont, Rhode Island? What'd you say?
Vermont, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire. Vermont,
Hampshire.
where are we? Vermont is the weekend of the 20th through the 22nd. Rhode Island is the weekend of June the 27th through the 29th. And New Hampshire is July 25th through the 27th. That's the official New England Triple Crown.
If I had to pick one, which one should I pick? I haven't been to any three of those, by the way.
Well, first off, I'm a little biased, but the New Hampshire one is literally right down the street from me. But the Vermont is going to be incredible. There's a wonderful music festival with it, so there'll be bands, vendors, all types of stuff going on that one. And that one is a 50-50 jack draw. And Rhode Island is a jack auto. And then New Hampshire is a third. So there'll be three chances of a draw for the jack. So yeah.
I don't know about cooking, but I can come hang out for sure.
Hey, I got a chair for you, darling. You know that.
Perfect. Margarita in the chair. That's all I require.
Hey, we got you covered, honey. We got you covered. But Jen, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Stick around. When we close this out, I'll jump in right back with you.
Okay.
All right, guys and gals, that was my dear friend Jenn Leigh doing wonderful things in barbecue in general, and especially in Texas. But thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it. And like I said, thank you to all our service men and women who are active duty veterans, all the above, and especially keeping your prayers, the ones who have paid the ultimate sacrifice so we can do this on a weekly basis. But thank you for tuning in. Next week, I'm being joined by Michelle O'Gwin. We know her of the World Food Championship. So we're going to talk some more World Food Championships and her experience in that. So that'll be fun. And I think that was it, folks. But like I said, thank you all for tuning in. Catch the video on Facebook and YouTube, on audio, all the audio platforms. Were there any questions? Send them to Pit Life BBQ Podcast at gmail.com. Like, rate, share, subscribe, the whole nine. I appreciate it. And until next week, keep the smoke rolling.